Good afternoon and thank you for joining us for our third and final game of the weekend in round 8 of the FOSROC Super 6. And we're at Myreside for our early evening kick-off as Watsonians Rugby take on Southern Knights. Well, we're very much into the business end of the competition with only 2 rounds of the regular season remaining after today. And there's still a huge amount for both teams to play for here at Myreside this afternoon. And hopefully this one will provide the same level of entertainment as our other 2 games this weekend. And Friday night, Stirling Wolves recording their first win of the season. A 28-16 victory on the road against Boroughmuir Bears, a bonus point victory for them. Duncan Weir with 4 conversions. And then earlier this afternoon with our 1 PM kick-off, the Ayrshire Bulls, another strong performance. 5 tries in their 33-7 victory on the roads at Heriots. 4 of those tries coming for their left wing, Elias Cavan. And we can see the effect that has had on the FOSROC Super 6 league table, with the Ayrshire Bulls perhaps temporarily taking top spot from Watsonians Rugby. And then Stirling Wolves, so getting themselves up to 5 points, and we can see an outside chance of the Southern Knights. We'll talk about that again in a second, of perhaps getting themselves involved in the end of season playoffs. I'll look at the 2 sides this afternoon. First of all, the home side, Watsonians, field an unchanged front 5, including Edinburgh Rugby's Angus Williams at tight head prop. The only 2 changes in the pack see Neil Irvin Hess and Carol Main join another Edinburgh Rugby player, Connor Boyle, in the back row. Rowan Frostwick gets his first start of the competition at 9 alongside captain Lee Millar, with Rory Brand moving to the bench, while Angus Guthrie moves from the wing to form a new centre pairing with Connor Eastgate. That should have been Joe Reynolds, but he's a late withdrawal from the Watsonians side. Connor Eastgate, a very strong replacement at inside centre for him. Ryan Daly comes in on the wing, joining Loman McPherson and Dom Coetzer in the back 3. And among the reserves, Jason Baggett returns from injury. Edinburgh Rugby prop Harrison Courtney comes back into the squad. And look out for Glasgow Warriors Academy player Ross McKnight making his debut from the bench. And for the visitors, Academy player Harry Morris moves from open side flanker to make his first start at hooker alongside captain Grant Shields and Isaac Brace, while Alan Ferry returns to the side to partner another Academy player, Jamie Campbell, in the second row. And Scotland under-20 player Rudy Brown again starts at number 8, with Wallace Nelson and Sam Derrick completing the back row. The injuries have wrought havoc with the Knights' backline selection in the past 2 weeks, with Robbie Chalmers, Patrick Anderson, Cammy Scott and Finn Douglas all unavailable. So Kyle McGee switches from inside centre to scrum half, and he's partnered by Douglas Crawford, who has to move out 1 place from scrum half to fly half to accommodate him. And Canadian Mitch Richardson, who's been playing in National 1 with Melrose, is parachuted into the starting side to partner Corey Winters in the centres. On the wings, Ben Pickles is alongside Aidan Cross and Kieran Clark. And again, with those injuries we've mentioned, 2 late withdrawals, this time for different reasons. Illness, so they've lost 2 players from the bench, with David Colvin and Eram Demerel dropping out this afternoon. Matthew Bertram comes in the number 23 jersey, and they're unable to provide a 23rd player, so they have a 5-2 split on the bench, just Bertram and Harris Rutherford providing cover in the back line. So that's the 2 sides, and as we said earlier when we looked at the league table, Watsonians perhaps temporarily knocked off top spot, and they'll be desperate for home advantage in our end of season playoff games. A win here would of course restore them to top spot in the league, a position they've held ever since defeating the Southern Knights 36-12 at the Greenyards in the opening round. And the Knights still have an outside chance of climbing into 4th place and securing themselves a playoff spot. A loss today though would condemn them to one of the bottom 2 places alongside Stirling Wolves. So while the home side, I think it's fair to say, are strong favourites this afternoon, expect the Southern Knights to throw the kitchen sink at Watsonians this evening. Alongside main commentary today, Heather Lockhart, 89 caps for Scotland. So I'm sure will provide us plenty of insight for our evening match today. Heather, how do you see this one panning out?
I think the conditions are looking set fair. Hopefully that remains so for the 80 minutes. Fergus Pringle said that he was hoping to execute the basics well under pressure, and certainly they've scored 34 tries over the piece, so that's an impressive scoring record, and the front five remain unchanged. Doing a sterling job there, and also Lee Millar at number 10, impressing with his control of the pack, and new, as you alluded to there, Connor Eastgate coming in at 12, forming a new partnership with Angus Guthrie in the centre there, so that will be exciting there. Interesting for Southern Knights too, how they fare as well, with Harry Morris getting a start at hooker, so good, very best of luck to him today.
Well, here come the Southern Knights, led out by their captain Grant Shields, vastly experienced former Edinburgh Rugby player and 80 appearances in the English Premiership with Newcastle Falcons. And you mentioned the conditions there, Heather. The sun shining at Myreside. We hopefully have avoided the worst of the weekend's weather, because yesterday a huge amount of rain fell in Edinburgh, and if you're watching our game, our 1 o'clock kickoff earlier today, the second half was very, very wet. I think the only thing that might affect the sides tonight is still very breezy. But out there come the home side Watsonians and our match officials. Johnny Perriam, our referee today, and he will be assisted by Ian Kenny and Alistair Watt. And Lee Millar, who you mentioned, standing there with ball in hand. Just a very, very solid player.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting that Connor Eastgate is coming as well, because he can also play at fly half. So having the two of them there, and also Jason Baggett is on the replacements bench today. So a very strong squad there.
Well, it is Lee Millar who gets us started. Sends that ball deep into the Southern Knights 22. And just play a phase through the forwards as to create a better kicking angle. Kyle McGee, as we said, switched from inside centre to scrum half today, and he'll look to find his half-back partner, Douglas Crawford, who himself played scrum half last week. And sends that one long down the stand side touchline, but doesn't find a touch, and carried back by Coutser. There's the vice-captain, Carl Davis, takes the ball into contact, and Rowan Frostwick with his first start at scrum half today. Solid defence in the midfield by the Southern Knights, just on their own 10-metre line. However, no release on the ground, and the first penalty of this one inside a minute goes to Watsonians, and Lee Millar, the Watsonians captain, no second thought, very much within his kicking range, but decides to go for the corner.
Totally agree, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, interesting there that maybe conditions as well dictating that, but Watsonians very much looking to get their tries in today, get the bonus point win, and get back to the top of the table.
Thanks, pal. Just step back on the front man, please. Just on the edge of the line. On the edge of
Davis. His first throw into the line out.
Oh, you 9? Oh, sorry, yeah.
To say a very good thrower, because I've said that more than once this season, and the hookers missed, but he generally is very good. And we spoke off how important these situations are, as Watsonians like to get that line out drive going. The ball fed back to the hooker, Carl Davis. This will be hard for the Southern Knights to stop. Grabbing across field. See Grant Shields, the Southern Knights captain, coming round the corner there, and back it goes to Frostwick, out into the centres. Tackle there by the new man Mitch Richardson, the Canadian. That ball goes loose, snapped up again though by Watsonians, still in possession. Frostwick, well, the Southern Knights didn't man the ruck there, and it's been picked up by Jamie Beresford, who has just strolled over for the first try of the day. Nobody at home for the Southern Knights in defence, and they'll be annoyed with that. They expected play to go right, and Rowan Frostwick, he looked like he was going to pass the ball out there, but instead a gap just to the side of the breakdown. Sure, see the replay here. Frostwick with a loose pass out there, but it was tidied up by Watsonians, and then again as he looked to pass it out, it was picked up by Jamie Beresford, who's a scoring machine.
Yeah, great, absolutely. That's his 5th try in this championship. Just really, really quick thinking there. All came from a fantastic line out, good control, and good tidy up there as well. And yeah, quick thinking there by Beresford. Well done.
Going that way, yeah. Cheers, bud. Everyone behind, please.
Successful conversion by Lee Millar. It's the best possible start for the home side. And inside 3 minutes, they lead by 7 points to 0. Watsonians this time from the restart back in their 22. FOSROC again just feeding his forwards
inside
into centre field. So back it goes.
Hold in front, hold.
The left boot there. Eastgate, I think, with the kick there downfield to Kieran Clark, Southern Knights fullback, who just sends that one back down into the 22. Watsonians happy to call for the mark there. Happy just to kick the ball out into to touch them, make a huge amount of distance there. Throw into the line out for the Southern Knights on the Watsonians 22.
Yeah, I'm impressed by number 9, Rowan FOSROC of Watsonians, looking very composed there and organised his forward pack well there to create that try.
Our first look here at Harry Morris throwing into the line out.
Come on fellas, let's go.
Come on. Flanker last weekend. His first chance at hooker today, and he finds his man off the top.
Well done, well done.
And out it goes into the midfield as Southern Knights just crash it up. Carry hard into that Watsonians defence on the home side's 10-metre line. And then Harry Morris carrying well through contact. It's his side on the front foot.
Not on the ball.
In goes Carl Davis, who's won so many turnovers in Super 6 rugby, but cleaned out on that occasion. Jamie Campbell now the ball carrier. One of a few contracted academy players in the Southern Knights lineup today. Back to Crawford, little ball inside now. The Knights struggling to get over that Watsonians 10-metre line. The referee, well, I think he was fairly clear there telling Watsonians to leave that, but they decided to put hands on ball there, and the penalty awarded to the Southern Knights, and I imagine they will just send this one into the corner.
Yeah, I think the Southern Knights will be pleased by that passage of play, particularly Harry Morris in the line out. Good take and a good series of carries there, and he got his hands on the ball as well, carrying good hard carries.
Cheers.
Multi-talented player, as he played open side last week, hooker today.
I'll try to help you, bud. Everyone else heard.
Acrobatic attempt at keeping the ball in play there by Dom Coutser, but it was out.
Just on the edge of the line, bud. Yeah, bang on.
Again, both sides opting for the line out drive.
So again, Carl's with the arms.
A key component in any side's attack these days.
We've seen Watsonians with the driving line out at the other end of the field. Didn't score directly from it, but he scored a few phases later. Let's see what the Southern Knights can do. And it again comes from Morris, however, throws it long over the top, snapped up by Lee Millar. He skips through the first couple of tackles, and Watsonians look to play out of their own 22 here. Tackle half made by Jamie Campbell. And Rowan FOSROC sees space at the back, sends it long downfield, nobody at home for the Southern Knights. Eventually picked up by Kieran Clark, the fullback. Not under a huge amount of pressure. Bangs it off down that stand side of the field, again not into touch, so back it comes from Watsonians. You hear the call of arrow, look to get the forward pod set up, but instead Loman McPherson runs across field, eventually brought to deck just on his own side of halfway.
Oh, he's in, 50-22 is on.
And you heard the call from the referee, 50-22 was on. Watsonians player was in his own half there, but just got too much on that, and I think that one has gone straight out, and the full will come all the way back to where it was kicked for the line out.
Yeah, Eastgate with the left boot, definitely looking very composed there, the kicking, just missing that 50-22.
Yeah, awesome.
They've used Eastgate's left boot 2 or 3 times already in this one.
Give them good options.
A very late replacement for Joe Reynolds himself, a very good kicker. So Harry Morris, 50% record so far at the line out. And again picked off by Watsonians. Tidied up by Carl Davis. Rowan FOSROC, 3 forwards out there. It's Connor Boyle of Edinburgh Rugby. Disrupted there by the Southern Knights. He's been snapped up by Harry Morris out through the hands of the centres, Richardson to Winters. The New Zealander, former Edinburgh Rugby player, player himself. couple of seasons ago. Went back to New Zealand for a season, but finds himself back in the Scottish borders. Watsonians trying to disrupt the breakdown, seemed to come right through the middle of that. You can hear the referee saying he was absolutely happy with it. Grant Shields has to pick it up and just drive straight forward into that Watsonians defence now. Again, good carrying by the Knights, this time Isaac Brace. Tight head propping a long pass out to Rudy Brown, and great hands from the young number 8.
Hold.
Back in field from McGee, this time to Wallace Nelson. McGee to Crawford, a little bit indecisive there, just dropped it off to one of the forwards in midfield. And again, Crawford looking to get hands and ball, tried to thread a kick through there, didn't work, but it has come back on the Southern Knights side. And this time Ben Pickles kicks that ball through. Wallace Nelson chasing it, snapped up by Dom Coutser, evades the first couple of tackles. The Southern Knights back row chasing, and away goes the Watsonians fullback. Off he goes down that left flank, and he will score. What a fantastic run there by the South African Watsonians rugby fullback Dom Coutser, showing all his abilities and his pace there as he raced away down the left touchline. And from the Southern Knights on attack, put the ball through, and a good chase by Wallace Nelson and Rudy Brown, but unable to get a hold of Coutser. And he raced away from his own 22 and has scored his side's second try of the match.
Yeah, just judged it well there. Good evasion there, and fantastic pace down that flank. Good change of direction there as well.
Guys.
Reminds me of Chloe Rowley of Scotland Women. Excellent finish, fantastic finish.
Good.
Chloe plays at fullback too.
We'll have another look at that as that ball was kicked through by the Southern Knights. Not an easy pick-up for a start by Dom Coutser, and he just angled away out to the left there. And a lovely step up against his opposite number, Kieran Clark. He left for dead. He's got wonderful footwork and so much pace.
Absolutely fantastic, yeah, really, really good. Southern Knights will be feeling a wee bit aggrieved there. They had some good possession play, so yeah, they're looking to get their hands on the ball next time.
Lee Millar already successful with one conversion. This is more difficult, right out in the left wing. That makes absolutely no mistake with that, and extends his side's lead out to 14 points to nil. Southern Knights, you mentioned they were on attack, trying to go through phases. Decided to put boot to ball. Was that the wrong option, or?
Maybe. Harry Morris did well, and Rudy Brown, fantastic pass out to the right flank there, long pass. So yeah, maybe just a wee bit more patient next time. Especially if you've got Dom Coutser at fullback.
They'll perhaps not kick to him next time.
Leave the 9, don't touch the 9.
In goes Rowan Frostwick. I'm not sure that was who he intended hitting.
Ball's
there. Beresford, the try
Use it,
scorer,
9.
took that into contact. Frostwick having to dig for it this
Back
time.
foot, fellas.
He takes on the kicking duties himself. Sends it down to the Southern Knights 10-metre line. Picked up by Douglas Crawford. Decides to go for a little run of himself. Switches sides and back to Sam Derrick. Big blindside flanker.
Not on the ball, no. You're on the body only.
Goes McGee. You can see that Watsonians defence set along their own 10-metre line. One of the best defensive sides in the competition. Tackle made by Carol Main back in the starting side today. Southern Knights again keeping a hold of the ball, going through phases down the stand side. A hint of space close to that touchline. Watsonians trying to force them out the field of play. Comes again, Jamie Campbell with the tip on. Under a bit of pressure there, Kyle McGee just has to go himself. Quagga van Niekerk almost got hands on it, couldn't quite. Isaac Brace now, the man to carry. He's tackled by
tackle!
Jamie Beresford. And away they go through Wallace Nelson. Looking for support there.
Well done.
Ball comes back loose and Kyle McGee decides to put boot to ball. It's been retained by the Southern Knights somehow inside the 22 now. Isaac Brace again. get himself involved in the action, driven back. The Knights, they are going through several phases here, putting that Watsonians defence under pressure. The long pass out now to Sam Derrick. And it's picked up there by Aidan Cross.
Yeah.
And he's over the try line, however, the referee had blown the whistle and will come back, I think, for the forward pass.
Yeah, so I think that's twice Southern Knights have done that. Phase play down the left flank and then a longer pass out to the right with a wide forward out there. So obviously something that they've pre-planned. And I think they'll be pleased there with the passage of play. Good strong carries, good possession, good retention. So I think they'll be looking to do more of that. And great little sniping run by number 7, Wallace Nelson.
Yeah. We'll do water break. Water break.
Here we see the pass. Well, the angle we're at here was maybe that one. In fact, the overhead pass was the forward one there. I think the first one was absolutely fine. Good, It was Sam Derrick was a little bit twisted, and he knew that Aidan Cross was in space behind him. Just desperately trying to get the ball out there, but
it's a water break now as well.
Good defence again by Watsonians, reading the fact that they were going to go wider. So yeah, up there.
But as you say, it's clearly something they're trying to do. They'll be pleased with their ball retention and their ability to go through phases, because it's not something they've been able to do at times this season, and they're kind of switching play back and forward across on the other side of the pitch, and presumably just trying to draw the Watsonians defence in there, and then when they go to release it, as you say, twice have thrown that long ball out. It hasn't quite worked for them, but there is space there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, we'll just slowly
Angus
walk
Williams there at tight heads, doing a couple
go.
of strong carries. It's good.
No, we're good.
Or so correction, Grant Shields.
Both Grant Shields and Isaac Brace have got hands on the ball for the Southern Knights, and Harry Morris has shown it well. He'll be disappointed with a couple of his lineouts, but he's had hands on ball on several occasions. Campbell and Ferry likewise, and the back row, you can see that they're looking to get themselves into space out wide. So although they trail 14-0, they'll certainly be disappointed in that. There are positive signs for the Southern Knights, but
first scrum.
Crouch.
Yeah, it's taken us 14 minutes. First scrum. This is your thing. You've got a more excited look on your face. You've been in many of these.
Use it, Watsons. Use it.
Hess in at 8 today picks up, met by Wallace Nelson. However, manages to fight out of that tackle, make another. It really was. Yes, made another 5 metres or so. Carl Davis thought about giving a pass. I suspect he never thought about it. He just threw the dummy and only ever intended doing one thing, which was take it into contact, and back it comes again. Connor Eastgate's left foot. Picked up at the back once more by Kieran Clark.
50-22's on.
Again, the Knights take it down that standside touchline. Corey Winters sends it long into Watsonians 22, and this could work for them. And Rowan Frostwick had to hurry back there because he had 2 Southern Knights players chasing him down, but he'll be pleased with the way the ball bounced. It went over the try line, and he's able to just touch that one down. And it will now be a goal line dropout for Watsonians. Lee Millar. So again, good play by the Knights down the standside touchline. And they will get possession back here. I imagine Lee Millar will just send this one as long as he can down the middle of the field. That is a huge kick. Taken on halfway by Kieran Clark, Southern Knights fullback, and he's driven back in a double tackle. Carl Main involved in that one. Harry Morris again, the hooker. And Crawford out to Wallace Nelson in the midfield. He's dealt with well though. McGee to Crawford again, thought about the pass. He skips through a couple of tackles. Good footwork there by the Southern Knights fly half. Aidan Cross had to hurry in there to win the ball, and Southern Knights trying to up the pace of the game. Away goes Kyle McGee. He's through, throws the ball in field, and over goes Sam Derrick. Great play there by the Southern Knights, sparked by Kyle McGee, trying to lift the pace of the game. Quick tap from the penalty, and skipped out of the first tackle, looked inside for support, and finds it from his back row, and the Southern Knights get themselves back into this game.
That's great play. They'll be absolutely delighted with that. Good tempo there by Douglas Crawford as well at 10 initially, and then number 9 Kyle McGee just spotting it. Good feet to go on the right, and great supporting play. Good offload.
Just
great
inside
finish.
Yeah, it's just inside the 5, yeah.
We'll have another quick look at that when you see the quick tap penalty from Kyle McGee and caught the the Watsonians defence napping. And
Sam Derrick responded. He knew exactly, trailed him really well.
He was the first to react. Apologies, I think I maybe said Wallace Nelson accredited with the try. It was Sam Derrick, the blindside flanker, with the score. And Cian Clark, the man tasked with adding the extras. You've got to say the Southern Knights deserve that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. In terms of territory and possession for the last 10 minutes, they've really kept it well, and they're also the kick down that left flank as well, just trying to put the pressure on, and resulting in the try there. So well done.
And a successful conversion by Cian Clark. As we approach the midway point in the first half, takes the score to Watsonians Rugby 14, Southern Knights 7. Certainly keeps this one interesting.
Yeah, the weather being kind at the moment. Let's hope it stays like this. Really good rugby.
Up it goes from Kyle McGee. That's a great take on the run by Dom Coetzer. The second try scorer for Watsonians. Big tackles. This time Quagga van Niekerk driven back. Carl Davis gets his side back on the front foot. Frostwick out to Irvin Hess. Forwards keeping it tight. Oh, in come the Southern Knights with the counter ruck. Referee says play on.
Leave it!
Wallace Nelson felt he could pick that up, but told not to.
Yeah, you've tried on purpose there. Taking the 9 on purpose. No interest in the ball.
You need the explanation from the referee. I think it was Alan Ferry.
Yeah.
5's not going for the ball, he's taking 9.
Taking out 9, which of course you can't do.
No.
And Lee Millar again just sends that ball right into the corner. Another acrobatic attempt at keeping that one in. Aidan Cross this time for the Southern Knights. He realises the danger that the Southern Knights are now facing with a line out 5 metres from their own try line.
Yeah, almost identical position when the first try was scored. Carl Davis,
careful with entries,
Mr.
boys,
Consistent.
from the back.
So Watsonians weren't able to score directly from the line out. Their first visit down here, but they scored a few phases later. Out to the right.
Ball's there, use it! Yeah,
brought down by Southern Knights. Still Watsonians in possession. He's pick and go there, and I think Carl Main has got himself over the try line.
Yep.
So good work there by Watsonians.
Yeah, great take. Southern Knights did well. They stopped the initial drive, but Watsonians were able to regroup and kept it tight and taking advantage there. Number 6, Carl Main, well done on the try.
Cheers.
Back in the starting side today. So once again, Southern Knights managing to stop this one initially, sacking the jumper and the line out. But you just pick and go, and again, nobody at home there. Again, I think Southern Knights will probably be slightly disappointed they didn't have somebody in that position, but it's difficult when you're being driven back, and Carl Main only had a few inches to go there.
It's really, really good to anyone watching, that really, really good low body position, driving over the line.
So Watsonians having just conceded at the other end. Their third try of the afternoon. If anything, Southern Knights will be a little bit annoyed that they gave away the penalty, as we've now seen, or we know from previous experience this season, what Watsonians can do when they get themselves into positions that close to the try line. Lee Millar unsuccessful with the conversion this time.
Yes, mate, thank you.
You can hear the wind a bit. Yeah, I think the wind just took that one.
Grant, keep it from behind on that side, yeah. Make sure you stay behind the kick as well on this side, yeah. Cheers.
It really is an exceptional kicker, but you're right, difficult conditions today for the kickers. Neil Irvin Hess, who's been prominent in the last 5 minutes or so.
Taken back in, taken back.
Clear instructions again from the referee, Johnny Perriam. It's been taken back in, so Watsonians can't kick this one out in the full, so instead Rowan Frostwick sends it down towards halfway. Ian Clark has had to field a number of kicks already today.
That one's forward.
Takes that one.
First one was all back.
And again, a hint of a chance for Southern Knights, but they lose the ball there. Knock on, it'll be a scrum feed to Watsonians.
Well,
Yeah, they've really come out today with real intent to attack, which is great to see.
It was good.
As we said earlier, it really is last chance saloon for Southern Knights if they want to get themselves. I mean, it's very much an outside hope that they have of getting into the top four, a long way behind Heriots. They'd have to win today, and their two remaining games are against Heriots, in fact, and Stirling Wolves. And they'd have to hope that Heriots didn't win again.
Set!
First part of the equation is to win today, and you don't get any tougher asks in the FOSROC Super6 at the minute than going to Myreside trying to beat Watsonians.
Just try and keep the height up a little bit.
Yeah, very much so. It's interesting, the FOSROC Super6's the results, yeah, absolutely, and everyone's doing everything they can to finish in the top four to advance to the semi-final stages. But it's also to develop players and to bridge that gap to the pro game. So someone like Harry Morris today, there he is in the scrum, getting that vital experience and the vital learnings from it, and as all the younger players are, and the older players too.
I think that's the point Southern Knights have been making over recent weeks, that they're very much buying into that and giving the youngsters, their academy players, a chance to play. But to be fair, I think all the teams are doing that in the Super 6. Right, it goes from the Watsonian scrum.
8, hold! 7, hold!
No messing about down in their own half of the field. Send it down into Southern Knights territory, and a difficult bounce there. And Aidan Cross unable to tidy that one, just has to watch it roll into touch. So it'll be his side to throw into the line out.
Yeah, just be careful with that cheap line. Cheers. Nice, pal.
Play now deep inside the Knights half.
Yeah, I think Fergus Pringle was saying that this is the fifth home
Guys,
match
in
for
first, please, don't
Watsonians
come in
this
late.
year, so they'll really be relishing the opportunity to play at Myreside today, especially when conditions are like this.
3 out! 3 out!
Better
Three
ball
now,
into the
get
line
out.
out from Morris. Finds his man in the middle and then gets his mix on the ball again at the back of the maul. Which kind of
No, leave it!
disintegrated in front of him to break away and carry into Watsonians' defence, and out it goes again to the forwards.
Sorry, pal, sorry.
And McGee decides he's not keen on playing in his own half, sends it into the Watsonians 22. And that particular kicking duel won by the Southern Knights.
Yeah, probably not quite the distance that he was hoping for there, so a chance for Southern Knights here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ryan Daly on the left wing today for Watsonians. Angus Guthrie has typically played there.
Me. Yeah, spot on, bud. Guys, not too big a gap, please.
Scotland under 20 player. Scored a great try here in their big win over Stirling Wolves. 3 weeks ago, I think, raced away down the left touchline, come off the bench. So Morris again. He's missed a couple, so I imagine Watsonians might try and put him under pressure, but again finds his man off the top to McGee. Long pass out into the midfield.
The ball's available.
Carried in by Rudy Brown. A little bit slow in coming back. Douglas Crawford brings play across to the Knights' right touchline. Once again, Harry Morris keen to get hands on ball. Isaac Brace. Once again, a wee bit slow, so Watsonians' defence well set. However, not round the ruck, because away goes Wallace Nelson. Finds his scrum half, Kyle McGee. And the Knights, well, in a fantastic attacking position there. Watsonians' defence under pressure, and a little bit untidy at the breakdown. And it's just handed the penalty. Hear the referee's explanation again. Flying in off their feet with the clean out. And really a wasted opportunity, you've got to say.
Another really great run there by Wallace Nelson, just staying alert, and yeah, Southern Knights really finding their feet here, but literally they've got to stay in their feet at the ruck, so I'll tidy that up.
Yeah, Grant.
The Knights' back row have been very prominent. Sam Derrick with the score, Wallace Nelson and Rudy Brown with the initial carry there. They're getting hands on ball, they've tackled well. shown up well in the first 26 minutes or so of this game.
Yeah, looking lively, looking really good.
Guys, step please. Guys, step please. On me. Thank you. Cheers. Okay, team one.
So Davis to the front of the Watsonians, line out. Again, just off the top and out into the midfield. A little bit lateral with the carry there, might get themselves on the front foot.
Not now.
Arrow, so
Not now.
I know this is coming out to the Watsonians forwards. Again, carry hard into that Southern Knights defence. Dig for that. Ball out the back this time, and Watsonians looking dangerous just outside the Southern Knights 22. Love a little tip-on pass from Beresford to Carl Davis, and goes Frostwick again. Connor Eastgate himself involved in the action. Watsonians now attacking down the stand side touchline. Dom Coetzer, one of the try scorers, takes that into contact. Neither side getting particularly quick ball. Frostwick, a lovely flat pass there to Carl Davis. Crashes into contact, a bit quicker this time. That Southern Knights defence eventually dragging down Connor Eastgate.
No.
Coetzer with a pass out there to the on-rushing player, takes it into contact and then back again to Connor Boyle. 23 appearances for Edinburgh Rugby. Some of these, well, I was just going to say, some of these flat passes are causing the Southern Knights defence problems. That one just a little bit too flat to Carl Davis, who I think has been the recipient on a couple of occasions. But you see a replay here.
Yeah.
Yes, it was forward, but you can see what they're doing. They very clearly have two lines of attack, and sometimes out the back, and sometimes just hitting that runner, and it's just hard for the defence when that that runner gets it very late, very flat to the line, but just trying to take too much there.
Yeah, good interplay there by the backs and the forwards from Watsonians there. Really good control by the half-backs and really using, you can hear the arrow call, which is the forward pod, and then sometimes going in behind. Also credit to Southern Knights though, a couple of times they slowed down the ruck just enough to get their defensive line set, so credit to Southern Knights too in their defence.
Calling it a day after 30. You staying on? No. See you later.
Both sides just taking a little
Captain
breather there. It's been pretty hard fought contest to date.
It was more of a can you. Lee's told me you're captain now, yeah. I'm not. I don't make the decisions. Just wait for Baggy to come on.
Breather for everybody. Here we go, Dozer. Here it's Grant Shields, the Southern Knights, just encouraging their captain.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
And it comes from McGee, and Rudy Brown, the youngster at the base, just feeds it off to McGee. And again, sends that one down into Watsonians territory. This looks dangerous every time the Watsonians back three get hands on ball. And a lovely offload there by Carl Main.
Superb.
Finds Quagga van Niekerk, just keeps the ball alive. Very difficult to defend. Out into the midfield, Connor Eastgate standing at first receiver. Quick ball now, however, ball lost this time by Eastgate, and you perhaps saw a flash up on the screen there, a change for Watsonians. They've lost their captain Lee Millar, with Jason Baggett coming off the bench.
Yeah, that's not a bad replacement at all. Hugely experienced, has played for Edinburgh Rugby too. So yeah, he'll bring some more composure, even more composure to the team.
That's Baggett in the 22 jersey just getting hands on the ball. You saw on the edge of the screen there, but the ball had already been lost by Watsonians. A hint of a gap for him. Watsonians 19, Southern Knights 7 on the half-hour mark.
Bind. Set. Offside. Good battle to keep it up, well done.
Yeah, scrum's been good so far. Both sides pretty much even. So yeah.
You know all about this.
Referee just talking there just about the break foot, but yeah,
he's going to keep
pretty even so far.
Yeah, that's new this year, isn't it? I don't know. They have to. Somebody's talking about the break foot. It's the hookers, and it's just to reduce the impact, isn't it?
Number 2, yeah, player welfare, yeah.
You watch the hookers front foot. You can see
it's like split
front,
stance.
Yes, a split stance. Yes. Previously they would have taken that back in the bind, I think, wouldn't they? But now they have to leave it out until the scrum is set, just to reduce the impact between the two front rows. And that's a great kick. I thought he perhaps put too much on that. It looked like it was going to go out in the full, but in actual fact it's worked really well for Southern Knights. However, Watsonians not hanging about, and away they go again. A tackle made by Aidan Cross, Southern Knights right wing, and it had to be made.
Use it now.
What Dom Coetzer can do from deep. A wonderful individual score for Watsonians' second try. Rowan Frostwick again sends that one to the skies. It's a good take by his opposite number, Kyle McGee. Here comes Cian Clark to secure the possession, and away goes Harry Morris again, carried well this evening. Douglas Crawford has to race in at scrum half, and on comes Alan Ferry back in the starting side today. Good interplay. Yes, it was good interplay again by the Southern Knights forwards, and now they go down that right flank. Good carry by Mitch Richardson. Rudy Brown let ball out the back of the forward pod there to his fly half Douglas Crawford. Southern Knights playing quickly here.
Yeah, good rip.
The Watsonians defence on their toes. However, they managed to rip that ball in the tackle. And away goes Quagga van Niekerk. Knocked backwards by Corey Winters though. And in the process loses that ball. Good defence.
Yeah.
That was a superb tackle there.
Time off. Wait for a hooker. And
the referee had to go up making the tackle initially. Got himself out of the way, and then in came Corey Winters. A New Zealander we mentioned earlier. He had a season at Edinburgh Rugby, went back to New Zealand and finds himself back in Scotland with the Southern Knights now. Been playing on the wing.
Really outstanding defence there, just accelerated, saw it, saw the little pass and was already accelerating into the tackle. And really solid.
It looks like a head injury assessment required for Carl Davis. So in comes Campbell Wilson.
Since the water breaks, it'll be what?
His first involvement will be straight into a scrum.
Coopers
probably love that.
You're the watch next time, eh?
Gets them settled in.
I do a better job than me, will you?
Certainly Carl Davis's solid game so far. I'm sure Campbell Wilson will settle in now.
It's been really good with Cal, keep the stand up.
Johnny Perry, I'm just having a bit of banter with the players, which is good to see, and his instructions have been very clear, his communication been excellent.
Yeah, on my com. Watching 12 promoted.
Ready. Crouch. Bind.
Rowan Frostwick just making sure his team are aware of what the Southern Knights are doing. It's Richardson obviously standing forward, expecting them to hit the inside centre. And that's exactly what McGee does. And Richardson
leave the ball,
crashes into contact. A particularly tidy breakdown by the Southern Knights. They're having to fight to get this one back. The support a bit slow in getting there, seem to lose their footing. They do have it back. McGee off again to Harry Morris. In the back row again, getting themselves involved. Wallace Nelson, Rudy Brown on hand. Oh, a loud blast in the whistle from the referee.
It'll be your ball. This man's not happy.
Yes, for an injury.
Hold on, just we'll pause it all round.
Okay, good referee.
It'll be your ball,
Johnny
Knights, over
Perry.
there.
It seemed that
Yeah,
hopefully it's not a serious injury, but he realised it was serious enough that he didn't want play to continue.
Yeah, Southern Knights,
Just
I
take
think
your
if
time,
they can
guys,
just
loads of time.
keep composed and keep it tidy. There's opportunities there. They showed with their try what they can do. So I think they just keep it tidy, especially at ruck time.
Illegally.
Sometimes it's a wee bit messy and making it harder for the halfbacks. So just keep it tidy.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep listening. That's what I'm saying.
Just the one try for the visitor, Sam Derrick. 16 minutes into this game, but they've had 2 or 3 other opportunities and maybe be disappointed with themselves that they didn't take more of those. And 3 tries for Watsonians. An outstanding individual effort by Dom Coutser for the second, but the first one, Jamie Beresford scoring, and then the third, Carol Main, both coming from penalties given away by Southern Knights. Watsonians kick to the corner and then very difficult to defend. So from that point of view, the Knights will be a little bit annoyed with themselves.
Yeah, so keep it tidy, keep the penalty count down, and yeah, because they're offloading play, the interplay in close quarters, really good to see.
Was he just looking pretty unhappy, was he?
I think that's Corey Winters that's down, isn't it? The Southern Knights outside centre. And you mentioned at the start, Fergus Pringle and Watsonians rugby coach, just there'd been a real focus on the basics this week, because although they've won their last 3, I think, ever since losing to Ayrshire Bulls narrowly, they've not been quite at their best. And although it's not a long competition, it's long enough, 10 league games, and then we'd hope from a Watsonians perspective to playoff games. It's long enough that it's hard just to be at your very best for that long.
Yeah, obviously they won the sprint series just before the summer there, and now they've come back just losing 1 match to Ayrshire Bulls. So yeah, it's amazing. They're just their ability to soak up the pressure and then just take advantage. They just need a couple of opportunities, and they scored 3 tries. So probably that's the difference at the moment, just their ability to take the opportunity when it arises.
Their aims over the next few weeks, though, will be obviously to hold on to that top spot, which will secure them home advantage in the playoff games, but also just to find that very best form that they had earlier in the season.
Yeah, definitely get a bit of fluidity in you were alluding to that earlier, but the linking between the forwards and the backs. So just again tidying things up. Both coaches will be looking for accuracy just to get the try count going. They're still on 3 tries. They'll be looking for that bonus point.
I think the treatment required for Corey Winters here.
30 seconds and I'll be right again. My stats will be bad, so I'm not very fast, but
which is presumably a positive sign.
Yeah, just be careful.
Guys, you all happy?
He
yeah,
seems okay
fine.
to play on, which is also good news.
Somewhere between the 15 and 5, is it? Just somewhere here, yeah. Good. Here's the mark, guys. Time back on. Mark's there, guys.
Action. I think Commonwealth, most of the players had actually forgotten what was where the restart was going to be. It will be with a scrum. And replacement hooker for Watsonians, Campbell Wilson, on for his vice captain Carl Davis. I love that Watsonians front row.
Crouch.
It's a good attacking opportunity here for the Southern Knights. 5 minutes
Bind.
left to play in this first half.
Set.
Ready.
Pressure coming on there from the Watsonians pack. So out it goes. Good footwork by Southern Knights, managing to skip their way through 2 or 3 tackles. They play up to the edge of the Watsonians 22. Out it goes to the captain, Grant Shields.
Play on the minute.
Around the corner by Wallace Nelson.
Yeah, ball's out.
Corey Winters, who seems to be fine, goes in and plays scrum half. This time the real scrum half, Kyle McGee, back where he ought to be. Crawford once again opts to use Wallace Nelson. He had options out the back. Just biding their time, playing through the forwards, and then again we'll see that long pass out to the wing. Corey Winters instead has a go himself. And back to the left they go. Once again met with
The ball's
very
there, he's
solid
working, the
Watsonians
ball's
defence,
there.
struggling to get themselves
worked
over
well.
that 22, so decide to put boot to ball.
Mark on that one.
And that looks like it has just gone a little bit too far, and that will roll into touch.
Option. Baggy option. 22 or scrum.
You might have
Scrum.
liked Southern Knights to
Scrum back.
maybe keep a hold of the ball there. However, you could, they weren't really getting anywhere. They were stuck on that 22.
So that just shows you Watsonians' defence there, just sort
he was
of
doing everything he
nullify
could
them slightly, and so they just think, you know, try
doing
the
a pretty
kick
good
there.
job
Maybe
too.
just again, just
Did a
the
pretty
really
good job
good runners.
defending.
Wallace Nelson's doing exceptionally well at 7. Just
If I
hold on
pinged
to
you
the
for
ball
that,
just a
you'd be
wee
pissed
bit
off. Doing
longer.
pretty well.
As I said, their back three Watsonians is really good, so we don't want to. If Southern Knights don't want the
Good
ball
work,
to
guys.
fall into their
Good
hands.
scrum. Good work.
But number 10 doing well as well. Douglas Crawford. Looks like he's reverted back to scrum half.
Yes, he played scrum half
Bind.
last week. Multi-talented, can play either
Set.
position. We'll find out in a second what has happened to Kyle McGee.
Stay bound, 7. Stay bound.
Remember, Southern Knights
Let's
with
go
only
now,
2
Watson's
backs on the
used.
bench. Harris Rutherford and Matthew Bertram, a late replacement for David Colvin. Aidan Cross takes that one well, looking over his right shoulder.
Well done,
Kicks it
lads, good
long
work.
again into that Watsonians 22. And good chase, good pressure by
Wait,
the
wait,
Southern
wait.
Knights right wing. Watsonians happy just to put that one out into touch.
Just go on the edge of
See
that line.
Jason
from there.
Baggett there just in the centre of your shot. Carol Main to the right with the blue headgear on. Scored Watsonians' third
Just
try.
moving a little bit,
Good
Ali.
to see Jason Baggett back
Moving towards Watson,
after
fine.
a spell out through injury. On for Captain Lee Millar.
Hold that gap, Watsons. Don't move.
Overthrow coming! Overthrow! Overthrow!
So can the Knights tighten the gap on the scoreboard as we approach half-time? Not particularly tidy at the line out, but it does come back on their side and out into the midfield, and Alan Ferry. Big second row. Takes
Leave
play
it,
over
Six, leave
halfway.
it, leave it.
Carol Main making an
Well done,
absolute
thank you for
nuisance of
listening.
himself there. Driven back
Ball's
by
there.
his opposite number, Wallace Nelson. Nice tip-on pass by Southern Knights.
Take him back.
And again,
Thanks,
looking to
Watsons.
put boot to ball. This could work for them though. Didn't quite reach the hands of Aidan
Unlucky.
Cross, but he gets boot to ball there, and he's appealing to the referee. He says he's been taken off, well, without the ball, and the
not a
referee
free
agrees
kick,
because he
it's
shows a
cover.
yellow card there to Rowan Frostwick, the Watsonian scrum
Plenty of
half.
cover.
I think if
Right
Aidan
there.
Cross had managed to get his hands on this crossfield kick, it was going to be very dangerous. But it just landed in front of him. We'll see the replay here. He put boot to ball,
Yeah.
kicked it through,
Cheers, guys. All in agreement.
and then you can see Frostwick
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Took him without the ball.
On the 5.
Let's go!
Guys, just don't encroach
Watsonians
at the
are
front,
aware
stay
that
on the
Aidan
mark,
Cross
don't
scored
move.
last week,
I will.
so
I will.
a threat, a danger.
Just
Frostwick
one
aware of that too.
1 metre in, not 2. Just a metre in, not 2.
He almost had to do that, although you could see just
Bang on,
at
thank you.
the shot there was a Watsonians player coming across. So it was far from a certain try. However, I think he would feel that he had to do it. However,
Advantage, number 8.
a great chance for Southern Knights playing an advantage here. With 40 seconds left to play in the first half. They break away from the line out. The referee still playing an advantage. Ball only about a foot away from the Watsonians try line. Pick and go, can't quite get there. Out it goes to brace.
You've got a penalty advantage, guys.
Tackled by Beresford. Southern Knights really have to be clinical here.
Onside!
Harry Morris.
Onside.
Once again through the Southern Knights forwards. Can't quite get to the try line. Referee saying no advantage, not hanging about. Tap and go by
Leave
Harry
it,
Morris.
Watkins, leave it.
Watsonians desperately trying to get hands
Back
on that,
foot,
told by the referee
back
to let
foot.
go. Wallace
7,
Nelson again
7.
looking. Nice to help his teammate over the try line.
Back foot,
Ever so
boys.
close.
Back foot.
Brace this time. Great Watsonians
Back foot.
defence. Southern Knights decide to go wider this time. Out to Crawford. And a great line there by Aidan Cross, angling back in towards the posts. He's dealt with well by the Watsonians midfield defence.
You see it?
Southern Knights desperate to try and get across that Watsonians try line. They must now. Out it goes to Mitch Richardson. Ball still there, however, knocked on by the Southern Knights, and that will be the last play of the first half. So disappointment for the Southern Knights, and went through so many phases, got ever so close and just can't quite breach the Watsonians' defence.
Yeah, that they had real composure there in the line. Really well played and fantastic line there by Aidan Cross, and just knocking on there just at the end. But they'll be looking to do more of the same in the second half, and fantastic cross kick into space rather than straight to Kutzer works.
So half time then at Myreside in the FOSROC Super6. Watsonians Rugby 19, Southern Knights 7 is the half time score, and we'll be back shortly to have a look at the 4 tries that were scored in the first half, but we will take a short break, as we generally do at half time, because the Scotland women's team are in New Zealand ahead of the Rugby World Cup, which kicks off next weekend, with Scotland playing Wales in their opening game on Sunday 9th October at 5:45 a.m. And before the players left for New Zealand, we caught up with them to chat about their memories of world sporting events.
I'm nervous, everyone's watching. Sleeves, they're cool. Not so much then.
I want a new partner now.
No, I'm ready.
Okay.
I hate this.
I can't believe I just said that. You've got to back the gal. I love her.
Awesome content. So do you have any memories from other big sporting events?
Yeah, I watched the Women's 2010 World Cup because one of my close friends, Nicola Halfpenny, was there. So yeah, I was watching that, but I remember seeing like Donna Kennedy and all that there. It was crazy, like it was really physical games, but I just remember watching it and thinking, I really hope that's me one day.
I think a big one for me, and really topical as well, is I was a ball girl at the 2010 World Cup, so the last time that Scotland played in a Women's Rugby World Cup, I was there on the sidelines running the balls up and down. There's probably some really embarrassing photos somewhere, but let's hope they stay hidden. But definitely something that I'll remember for the rest of my life is being inspired by those players back then. So yeah, really cool to be then playing in the next one.
I would say Jessica Ennis winning the Olympics. That was something that definitely stuck out for me.
Powerful.
Yeah.
For me, in terms of my rugby journey, there's one that's really important, which was Glasgow 2014.
Yeah.
Not that I went and watched some of the athletics, but then also watched some of the rugby on TV, and it's actually what inspired me to get back into rugby, as I wasn't doing rugby at the time, so that kind of got me back into rugby, and now I'm here.
Yeah, I think when I was growing up, we had the Mountain Bike World Cup come to Fort William, and that was like such a massive event. And I think for me it was really cool to see that the men and the women were on pretty even footing. Like they both ran on the same day. Like you would kind of think of mountain biking as like a male-dominated sport or like quite physical, but actually the women were like incredible at it as well. So I think for me that solidified the fact that like I can do whatever I want to do.
Okay, so first one, Athens 2004, was watching Catherine Granger, Steve Redgrave, the rowing. I just remember being like sat on the stairs watching it, thinking, so cool, I want to be a part of a big tournament like that.
I think the first time I remember like a world event was the Football World Cup in '98. Last time Scotland were there. And we had a sweepstake and I got Scotland and I was so excited and I just couldn't understand why they hadn't won. But I think probably Athens 2004 when Kelly Holmes won her double Olympic titles, that's when I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do, I want to be part of these events.
I remember watching Scotland women play at Murrayfield, probably 2002, and they played against Sweden in the main stadium, and I went along as a wee 7-year-old and got to watch them, and that day just fell in love with it, was desperate to be part of the women's team in the future.
Went to the Men's World Cup. I watched Scotland-Samoa in 2015, St James's Park in Newcastle. I got the train down when I was a pro student. So to now be playing a World Cup is pretty, yeah, it's pretty surreal. And I loved your commitment to supporting Catherine Granger.
Yeah, I know. You've got to back the gal. I love her. Scottish too.
Scotland women's team, they're out in New Zealand. The first game against Wales in the World Cup, Sunday at 5:45 a.m. Alongside me. So alongside me this afternoon, Heather Lockhart, 89 caps for Scotland, play your last one at the age of 44, which I can't. The thought of playing a game of rugby now and what I might feel like the next morning fills me with absolute dread. But you 89 caps between 2004 and 2017. I imagine watching that makes you want to roll the clock back and be out there.
Well, it's just fantastic because it was interesting. Lana and Katie Matheson were talking about how the 2010 World Cup, when Scotland was last involved, so 12 years ago, inspired them. That's what they wanted to do. Katie was a ball girl at the Surrey Sports Park, and Lana remembers watching it. So that's really good. And I think that's what the girls, the current squad, are aiming to inspire those younger girls coming through the system, that, you know, to inspire them and what is possible. So first week's training done in New Zealand. So absolutely fantastic. I think it's a bit wet out there. So I think they're feeling quite at home. They've had a training hit out against the South Africans, which that's exactly what you need. I think a week out, you need to be game ready as well as training ready. So Wales next week.
Well, all I can do is wind the clock back about 40 minutes, I'm afraid, and we will have a look at the tries, because it was only 2 minutes into the game when Watsonians scored their first try. Came from a line out, which they initially tried to drive over, repelled by the Southern Knights defence, but they went wide. And as the Knights defence expected Rowan Frostwick to throw that one out, Jamie Beresford just snapped it up and strolled over the line.
I know, he's a big guy, but like just staying alert and just picked it up over he went. Fantastic, really good rugby brain there.
And Lee Millar adding the extras. You can see this just earlier in the same try, I think, when the ball had gone loose initially. You can see it just from the different angle there. And it was Corey Winters, in fact, just standing, and he probably wouldn't expect to find himself in there, the outside centre,
looking
defensively.
Looking what the scrum half was going to do rather than next person.
Absolutely, I would think the Southern Knights would rather have had a forward in there. This was the second one, which is just outstanding individual effort by Dom Coetzer.
This looks like just what he absolutely loves. He's almost half smiling there. You can see he's looking around. As soon as he got the ball, he's looking around. Where's the space? How can I create space for myself? Very, very good. And obviously he's got the speed to finish it off.
He was our FOSROC Super 6 player of the match in the last game that I commentated on, watching Watsonians. And this is what he did all day. You can see when the pick up at the back there, which was not easy.
Yeah, immediately changes his angle. And then just, at 9 there and commits, and then goes in and then goes out again. And ball on the outside, which is great, so he's able to fend off with the right hand if need be. And I think the first person to congratulate him is Neil Hervin S, which is the number 8. So good speed from him too.
Took him a while to get there.
Absolutely.
Back came the Southern Knights, and it was from a penalty, a quick tap by Kyle McGee. He was tackled by Dom Coetzer, fed the ball inside, and Sam Derrick, the blindside flanker, on hand to take the scoring pass.
Yeah, it's interesting. At 9 and 10 today, we've got Kyle McGee and Douglas Crawford. Douglas Crawford sometimes plays at 9 as well, so I think they both understand each other. So they're both they're almost like switching around. I think that's what's happening at the scrum as well. They're just happy to whatever, and they're both happy to do and whatever each other's strengths are. So they're complementing each other today. And Sam Derrick really reacting well there for the offload to score. Yes,
because Douglas Crawford had been heavily involved in the lead up to that penalty. Exactly. Yes, and it was McGee with the quick tap. But back came Watsonians, and again, it was ill discipline by the Southern Knights, which gave away the penalty. I think it was Alan Ferry, and Watsonians just kicked to the corner, stopped short with the line-out. But you can see Carol Main with the blue headgear just picked up and went round the side.
Yeah, Southern Knights had been warned about the penalty, and they repeatedly, and then left the referee with no option, and then they decided to and this is a lovely bit of play here by Southern Knights. Good cross kick there by Douglas Crawford to Aidan Cross, and just tackled off the ball there, creating the penalty.
Yeah, Rowan Frostwick decided that the best option there was to take Aidan Cross even without the ball, because he felt that that right wing, the Southern Knights right wing, was about to go for a try. You could see just at the end of that shot, Dom Coetzer was coming across the Watsonians fullback, and we'll say that he was probably going to get there before Aidan Cross, but Rowan Frostwick taking no chances. However, it did result in him being sent to the sidelines for 10 minutes, and you can see on screen there the half-time score at Myreside. Watsonians Rugby 19, Southern Knights 7. The sky just a little bit grey there, but hopefully the weather will stay fair, because we mentioned at the start of the game the weather at times has been horrendous this weekend, and the second half of the Heriots Ayrshire Bulls game was torrential rain at times, but the conditions have really been good for this, and the wind really the only thing that's perhaps affected the game slightly, just that misconversion by Lee Millar, and that's about the only effect that I think the weather has had on the game. So round 8 in the FOSROC Super6. 2 more rounds of the regular season still to come, and then we're into playoff territory. The top 4 in the competition will go into semi-finals, and then a final. Watsonians already assured of a semi-final place. The question is just whether they can hold on to top spot and therefore secure home advantage. The Southern Knights currently sitting down in 5th place, and from memory I think 11 points behind Heriot's Rugby. So they would need to win today and the next 2 games, which is against Heriot's and then Stirling Wolves, to give themselves a chance of getting into that top 4. It's very much an outside chance, but on the evidence of today, they're not a bad rugby side, because they haven't won a lot. They've just won the one game. They'll be very disappointed they didn't beat Heriot's a couple of weeks ago. It would have kept things tighter, but they've played some good rugby at times today.
They have. I'm sure the half-time talk was more of the same, and that cross kick as well. Certainly working at putting Aidan Cross into space. Danger player.
So Douglas Crawford with the 10 jersey on at the end of the half appeared to be in at scrum half, so we'll see where he lines up in this one, but he gets us restarted, sends it deep into the Watsonians 22. They send it back into Southern Knights territory, and there's a change because that's Harris Rutherford on in the 22 jersey, one of only 2 backline replacements for the Southern Knights today. Already struggling with injuries, and then 2 withdrawals due to illness shortly before kick-off. Eram Demirel, former Highland player, and David Colvin, both suffering from illness. So Matthew Bertram brought in from the Melrose club side. Mitch Richardson had already been brought in, a Toronto Arrows player, 2 of them across playing with the Melrose club side at the minute, just with a connection between the 2 clubs. He's been promoted to the Southern Knights starting lineup due to several injuries to Knights midfield players.
Yeah, MLR player, he'll be relishing the opportunity to play today at Myreside.
He's carried well when he's been given the ball.
Yep.
Harry Morris has had mixed fortunes, let's just say, at line-out time. You can see on the screen there, it's Corey Winters, the man that's had to go off. He suffered some sort of injury. I think it looked facial towards the end of the half. Harry Morris failed to find his man. However, the Southern Knights have won this one back and play now on halfway. And Crawford is in fact playing scrum half, so the Knights have also lost McGee. Deep pass. It looks like Harris Rutherford lining up at standoff. Here comes Crawford again, and the rain now on at Myreside. So we said we hope the weather would stay fair. Yep. It hasn't. Shouldn't have tempted fate. So the Southern Knights have lost 7 or 8 metres there. You can see Mitch Richardson off and Matthew Bertram on now. So both of the Southern Knights backline replacements on the field of play. You can see the spots of rain on the camera here. Banged off downfield by Kieran Clark. That's a good cross-field kick, and that will be a 50-22.
Yeah, that's a fantastic kick. Really, really good distance. He'll be well chuffed with that.
Yeah.
You can see it's still blustery if you look at the assistant referee's flag. But it didn't trouble him there. A lovely cross-field kick. Rolled into touch just inside the 22 and kicked it from his own half, which means the 50-22 and the side that kick it also get the throw into the line out.
We're going to have to try Watsonians number 5, Jamie Beresford. Real nuisance at the line out in defence. They're going to have to try and throw where he's not.
Where you are.
They're lining up differently. I imagine they'll race to the front here, will they? And try and go up in front, but again beaten to the punch by Beresford. Does come back on the Southern Knights side and hurriedly thrown out by Douglas Crawford. And Kyle McGee, in fact, still on the field of play, so they just moved things around in that back line. I think they maybe switched places. Harris Rutherford involved in the action, and the Knights take play into that Watsonians 22. Watsonians felt they turned that one over. You can see they don't agree with referee Johnny Perriam's decision there. We'll see the replay here, and it was in fact Matthew Bertram that crashed into contact and I suspect that it was maybe Connor Boyle got hands on the ball. He was probably legal. I think probably just the tackler hadn't rolled away, so the clear was made difficult for the Southern Knights, hence the penalty.
Yeah, and they were thinking about the quick tap, but there was a big shout of no, no, no. Just, they've got themselves in a good position.
Nice, come on, let's go.
Change at the line out. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe think about a scrum too. The scrum's going quite well rather than the line out here. Let's see what happens here.
Again, pressure at the front. Morris trying to find Alan Ferry, but Watsonians really have worked out that Southern Knights line out. Won the last 3 or 4. So I think you're right, Heather. They either need to change things up there or perhaps consider different options rather than the line out. Gathered by Kieran Clark at the back again. Well, we go for another 50-22. Certainly puts boot to ball. And I tell you what, he's just done exactly the same.
He must have heard you.
Yep.
That is outstanding again by Kieran Clark, the Southern Knights fullback.
Seems very confident very confident in his capabilities. So well done.
I think that's just the way the wind's going as well. And
he's using it well.
He realises he's onto a good thing. I wonder if Watsonians will now think twice about kicking the ball to him. We spoke about the Knights and whether they should be kicking to Dom Coutson in that first half. I wonder if Watsonians are now thinking, yes, let's not kick to Kieran Clark. For perhaps different reasons.
Ian, can you hear me? Just hold on. Just check it.
Shields, the Southern Knights captain, just having a long word with Harry Morris. Again,
it's not the line out, the Southern Knights line out. It's a functioning line out. It's Bereford he's a defensive line out operator is worth the weight in gold. Really stops the ball supply at source.
Knights again looking at different setups. So the 3 at the front with Beresford there, so I imagine they will try and go to the middle. There's a big gap, will win the race across the ground, spread themselves out. Again they come to the front, and again that man picks them off, Jamie Beresford. And once a hooker gets it into their head, they're under pressure. It is very, very difficult.
So I think Harry Morris's throw is fine, so I would trust it to go just a bit longer. There was the second one he did in the first half, and it was a really, really long one, so maybe just sort of mid. There, I think the actual middle pod, because Beresford was at the front, so just, trying to work it out.
So Angus Williams leaves the field of play. Watsonians tight head prop, another New Zealander. Edinburgh rugby player qualified to play for Scotland. He's got an Edinburgh-born mum.
Yeah, he's a good operator. He's won player of the match in round 2, so he'll add something here.
Set!
Gregor Skugel, the man to come on for him. Southern Knights scrum under a bit of pressure there. In fact, that is going to come back on the Watsonian side. However, referee Johnny Perry awards the penalty to the Southern Knights, just saying that was a deliberate wheel. You can see the pressure coming on that tight head side from Watsonians.
It's actually that it's Harrison Courtney there. It's come on at 17, and he's just pointing the finger at him. But they know I think the Southern Knights almost know that was Harrison's good scrummaging. Fresh legs, powerful there, good. Just probably looking for a bit straighter for the referee.
Another New Zealander playing for Edinburgh Rugby with a Scottish grandparent. Can Harry Morris find his man this time? Again, just spreading the line out. This time they do go to the back. That's well plucked out the air by the Southern Knights. Ball went to deck but went backwards. Harry Morris comes racing round the corner. He's certainly good when he gets his hands on the ball. Now the Southern Knights just pick and go round the corner, very close again to that Watsonians try line. Flooding players round to the left. The Watsonians defence alert to it.
Yes.
Rudy Brown was very close.
Yes.
Options both ways for the Knights. Crawford looking to the left, changes his mind and goes to the right. And that ball just a bit untidy. The referee was playing an advantage. So still Southern Knights with a chance close to the Watsonians try line. They had a chance maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Well, in fact, it was closer. It was just 2 or 3 minutes before half time. Weren't able to get themselves over the try line. They need to be accurate and clinical here if they want to get themselves back into this game.
Yeah, just for as long as it takes, just get that mentality as long as it takes. So they've got the composure there with Crawford.
I've just said wait for the whistle.
Take two, false start. Tap by Crawford. Passes to Harry Morris. Southern Knights trying to get a latch on there just to drive the player over the line. That Watsonians defence has been superb.
Back feet
That's
on the
very
line.
close, can only be inches away. Switch of direction again, and McGee driven sideways. Van Niekerk, I think the man making the tackle, squirts out the side, and the Knights think they're over that try line. The referee on the spot, and he does award the try, and the Knights do get themselves back into the game.
That was fantastic play, really, really well. That was the patience there that we're talking about, and the composure. Fantastic play by them. Yeah, really good defence there. Kept them out for phases. McGee there a bit lateral, but managed the ball retention. He had the support.
That's all right. I did. I shout.
That's a couple of tries we've seen this afternoon, just right around the side of the breakdown.
What was really pleasing to say was like, the intensity both sides are playing at is absolutely phenomenal. The Watsonians' defence as well, you can see them just like urging each other on. So just that accuracy coming in. Yep, good pick up, just squirting out the side. And Southern Knights taking advantage of that man advantage.
Yes, Watsonians were down to 14 men. Rowan Frostwick shown the yellow card. He is now back on the field. The try was conceded before he came back on.
6.
Again, the conversion successful. Narrows the gap to only 5 points and 30 minutes left to play in this one. Watsonians 19, Southern Knights 14. It really has been a very entertaining game, and as you said, they are played at very high intensity.
Yeah, I think both sides can be really proud of their efforts and just maintain that for the next half hour.
Play on.
The ball bobbles about. It's been snapped up by Watsonians just outside the Southern Knights 22. What they want to avoid, that's what happened last time they scored, where they conceded 5 minutes later. First possession that they should have had from the restart in their own 22. Jason Baggett getting himself involved in the action, big tackle. But Watsonians inside the Southern Knights 22 now.
Got advantage 9.
Frostwick there back on the field. Referee telling him he's playing an advantage. Away goes Connor Boyle. Arcs off round behind the breakdown off to the left, back towards the stand side.
Nice run.
And back to the right, Beresford. It's hands on ball. Frostwick to Baggett. And there could be space. Dom Kutsero cuts back inside. If he'd kept his feet there, it was very dangerous. And they had Loman McPherson outside him. The ball has been lost, snapped up by the Southern Knights and Aidan Cross, but the referee was playing at advantage.
Offside.
Sam Derrick, the man offside.
Yeah.
You can see Dom Coutser there. If he'd stayed on his feet with Loman McPherson, he had support on the inside.
Just the surface a bit greasy, just that earlier spell of rain.
What was the pen for last scrum? Stepping left and walking round.
Walking round, that's heavy breathing both sides. That's phenomenal play, yeah. But Southern Knights, need to reinforce. They've just scored the try.
Come on, let's go. Yep, second. Let's go.
Crouch.
Let's go, back, let's go.
Bind. Set.
Solid Watsonians scrum.
Yeah, let's
Neil
go
Irvin
now.
Hess told to pick, gives it to his scrum half. Out behind the centres to Jason Baggett. And Rowan Frostwick quickly there off to his number 8 again, Neil Irvin Hess. Switch of direction. Back in towards the post. Keeping things tight for now. Replacement, Prop Harrison Courtney, the Edinburgh Rugby man. Carries hard, and now Watsonians look to go wide. Loman McPherson pops up off his right wing. Stopped about 5 metres short of the Southern Knights try line. Beresford again involved in the action, out to Baggett. He's tackled well. And in come hands from Southern Knights and Rudy Brown, who I think has stolen that. Well, no, it's still in the hands of Quagga van Niekerk. The other Watsonians lock Solid defence by the Southern Knights, having to fight for their lives here. Connor Boyle, around the corner they come out, is a huge tackle. Jamie Beresford driven back. Again,
Kieran Clark, very good.
It's a much bigger man. Van Niekerk again, and the ball lost. The Southern Knights congratulating themselves there. That is a great defensive set.
I think Bruce Robson will be out very pleased with that, and they should be very pleased with themselves. If really, there's that tackle. That leg drive, put down legally as well. Well done. And just prior to that, the number 11 as well had a fantastic tackle. Ben Pickles really good as well, working hard.
It's just the desire from that Southern Knights defence, and just seem to have found a new level of intensity today.
There's your back three, right on the line, absolutely giving it everything. Well done.
Remember, this is league leaders Watsonians up against the side sitting in 5th place in the league, Southern Knights. You probably wouldn't have guessed from the first 53 minutes of this game at Myreside. And it comes on, again, pressure from that Watsonians scrum. You mentioned Harrison Courtney on, I think Gregor Skugel on it. Both props have been replaced, and Harrison Courtney, he's a big guy, and
you can see his power there. Yeah, but initially there, and number 3 Skugel needs to just keep his feet under him. Obviously it's a bit slippy, so when going forward, just not in such a rush, keep everyone together.
Another change in the back row for Watsonians. Seb Cecil with the 20 jersey on there. Another absolute nuisance. Former Nottingham player. He was played in the English Championship. He was their Young Player of the Year back in 2019-20.
Scored last week, so yeah.
He's a real quality player, but he's a total nuisance at the breakdown as well. Himself and Lewis Ball, who's not involved today, in the second row. Free kick awarded to Southern Knights. They'll be happy to have survived that. Well, that's not the best of kicks. And just find a touch, which of course will not be their thrown because it was from a free kick just outside the 22.
It's a free kick. Yeah. 11. He's over there. Far side, mate. Hold on. Just wait. Okay, let's go. Yeah, he's done.
So the Southern Knights managed to repel Watsonians just a minute or two ago. Can they do the same again here from the line out at the 22? And it comes to Beresford at the front. They get the drive on and making ground very quickly.
Out now.
Campbell Wilson at the base. And Rowan Frostwick not be in any hurry to take this from his hooker. Eventually goes to deck.
No, it broke off. Let's go, on. Stay on.
And Beresford has to go in and act as scrum half. Feeds it off to Seb Cecil. He's hit hard by Harry Morris in the tackle.
Back 34, step.
Frostwick back in now, scrum half, and feeds Campbell Wilson racing round the corner. Out into the midfield. It's a great offload. Over goes Quagga Van Niekerk. Well, he's lost that ball as he went over the line, and away come the Southern Knights. That was Kyle McGee, who saw space in front of him, and Sam Derrick. Ball squirts out again, stolen by Seb Cecil, a little bit untidy. I do wonder if the rain is now playing a part in this game, but we'll go back and we'll see the replay here, because Rowan Frostwick fed it out into the midfield. It was offloaded off the deck to Quagga Van Niekerk, and he was very close. He was over the line, but lost the ball in the tackle, and then away came Kyle McGee. Great footwork, turned Jason Baggett inside out.
Yeah, it was Seb Cecil's offload from the deck. That was really outstanding. You don't see that too much off the deck. It's really, really effective. It cuts in right behind. So unfortunate to lose over the line.
We'll move on.
Yeah, it's hard to defend because the player that's standing there often goes to try and get hands on the ball on the ground, and before you know it, it's been
around the side, offloaded,
and that's exactly what happened. Quagga Van Niekerk, I'm not sure how he didn't score there, but somehow lost the ball over the try line. Southern Knights have been under real pressure in the last 2 or 3 scrums. They look to just get this in and out very quickly, I imagine. Again, on comes the drive from Watsonians. And I'm not sure that ever really came out properly, but referee happy to play on. Was tidied up, I think, by Wallace Nelson. I don't think it even made it as far as number 8, Rudy Brown. Southern Knights back on their own try line here. I'm going to fight desperately to get this one back out. Ball's in there somewhere. I can see the ball on the ground, in fact, just in the field of play. And of course they won't want, well, the referee has rescued them, if you like, by awarding the penalty.
Sorry.
They'd be trying not to let that get over touch that down over their own try line, and it'd just be a goal line dropout. But the referee has awarded the penalty. Side entry from Watsonians.
Certainly the Watsonian scrum starting to pay dividends, real power there, and really putting Southern Knights under pressure on their own line.
Back in from the side.
So the Knights have to be very secure with their handling, can't afford too many more scrums against that very powerful Watsonians 8.
We'll do the water break now.
The changes in the front row made a real difference for the home side. The referee calls for a water break.
The ball just came out.
Yeah, I was clear coming through.
It was much better. You were going square.
Harrison Courtney there with the 17 jersey on.
Your hooker obviously was a break foot, so that wasn't good, but...
Just having a quick word with the referee just
clarifying a few things.
It is water break, yeah.
Clarifying or telling the referee a few things?
No, I think he generally was having a wee chat, and just he's an experienced scrummager, so we're wanting to get on the right side of the referee.
Yes.
Scrum.
Yeah.
Watch. Obviously we've gone.
Check the radio if you can't hear.
Yeah, we're just...
I thought it popped out the back of the guy, the sort of back row on his feet. That's why we gave it, but yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Conor Boyle just now having a quick word. Everybody wants to word with the referee now. There's a queue of Watsonians players
fair enough.
Asking different questions. The referee's being very patient. I think one was probably enough, but the officials' communication system seems to be going every now and again. You'll perhaps hear the silence occasionally at home. Everything goes quiet. You don't hear the players. You don't hear the referee. It seems to be back online.
2 and 7. 2, 7.
Harry Morris's day is done.
We do it.
As is Wallace Nelson, who's shown up very well.
Fair enough.
Harry Morris will be disappointed perhaps with the way some of the line-outs have gone, but as you've said, it's not really been his fault a lot of the time. It's just been that Watsonians' line-out, and in particular Jamie Beresford, has been very effective.
No, I think he's done phenomenally well today. First start as hooker, and he'll learn from that. But I think, he can be very well pleased, and same for number 7 as well, Wallace Nelson.
Former Scotland under-20 player and the Southern Knights vice-captain Fraser Rennick on in the 16 jersey. And his first line-out throw doesn't go to plan either, because once again won by Watsonians. You see confirmation on your screen there. Harry Morris leaving the field of play. Fraser Rennick coming on, and it's Watsonians on the Knights 10-metre line out to Baggett. Just drops that ball off to one of his backline compatriots. And then Harrison Courtney, we've seen the damage he can do at scrum time. Also a very strong ball carrier. It's the Watsonians' backs. Boot to ball. Dom Coetzer seemed to bounce off one of the Southern Knights players and falls very fortunately for the Watsonians' fullback. They win that one back, and Jamie Beresford again involved in the action.
Hold on side.
Frostwick deep to Baggett. Through the hands of the centres, Eastgate and Guthrie. Watsonians just got a sense, perhaps, trying to lift the pace of the game now. Owen Frostwick getting quicker ball from the breakdown, and Baggett just acting as distributor, feeding it off to the big forwards. Once again, Harrison Courtney. And then to the backs, Dom Coetzer. It's a 2-1 here. If he'd given that ball to Loman McPherson, well, he did have Douglas Crawford standing there in front of him. Hint of danger there just for a moment. But still Watsonians in possession, and Seb Cecil now crashing into contact. Rowan Frostwick break round the side of the ruck and finds his second row, Quagga van Nieuwkerk. Watsonians really have their tails up now. Out it goes to that left flank. And you feel Watsonians must score here. They will. It's Angus Guthrie, the man to go over. Playing outside centre today. Typically played on the wing for Watsonians this season. It's shown up well this afternoon. And you can see And the ball thrown out there behind the forwards in the midfield by Baggett. Fed on by Connor Eastgate. And the Southern Knights defence all at sea, short of players. Yeah. And Angus Guthrie just skipping out of the last tackle to go over the Southern Knights try line. Watsonians 24, Southern Knights 14.
Yeah, really sharp passing there by the backs, and well finished by Guthrie, who's scored. That's him. Scored again. Scored in the last 3 games as well, and I think he scored earlier as well. So taking his tally to 5 tries. So well done, Angus. But Van Niekerk bursting through the middle there to create the space and to create the space out wide for them.
So Jason Baggett will attempt to add the extras here. Lee Millar off the field. 2 conversions earlier. Unsuccessful attempt there by Baggett. Watsonians will be feeling a little bit better now with a 10-point advantage, because I've no doubt they were feeling the pressure that the Knights were applying. The game's still not done, still 18 minutes left in this one. In fact, that's a very clever restart picked up by Crawford.
I like how he plays, he's clever. Psychology graduate, yeah, it's clever.
Crawford again, out to Harris Rutherford. Chip over the top, and so just send that when he thought there was space in behind. But once again, it's the second time this afternoon we've seen that from Watsonians. Just got too much on it, gone straight out, and this will be a really good attacking opportunity for Southern Knights. Just another look at this one from Douglas Crawford.
Yeah, good kick, and also a good pick up under pressure there. Cecil coming at him and had the composure to turn and recycle.
I don't know.
The question here is, can the Southern Knights get their line out functioning again? Because they're getting opportunities from them, but unable to win the ball. Fraser Rennick does find his man.
Using more movement there.
In the 5. Once.
Confusion as to what side the ball was going to be there, but eventually finds its way into the hands of Fraser Rennick at the back.
Let's use it now.
Douglas Crawford on hand, being told to use it. So feeds it out to Rudy Brown.
No, he's never on the ball.
Watsonians appealing there, thinking that they had won the ball. Referee saying that we're never got hands on. So it's still the Knights in possession, and Crawford looking busy now at scrum half, having started the game at scrum half. At fly half, apologies. Kick through, and that'll just roll into touch inside the 22.
Ali, you hear me? Right, yeah. You can hear me okay?
Cool. Watsonians throw into the line out, and their line out has been excellent today. The Knights be desperate to keep
difficult to mark Jamie Beresford in the line out. He's pretty tall, but if you can do that.
So your money's on Beresford here. We've got Seb Cecil now as well as an option.
Yeah, no, he's not.
A bit of movement. In fact, it goes to neither. Quagga Van Niekerk takes it in the middle.
He's not there.
They've got so many options.
Use it! 16,
well,
use it!
That's what makes him such a threat.
Just picked out of the maul there by Quagga Van Niekerk. Watsonians still inside there, 22. 15-16 minutes left in this one. And you get a feeling there's more still to come in this game. If the Southern Knights can just apply some pressure here and get themselves on the scoreboard again.
Well, listen, you broke away. That's why I asked.
But there's a real sense leading up to that Watsonians fourth try.
They needed that. They needed that fourth try.
They did, and they knew they needed it, and you could see that there was a real lift in the pace of the game and their intensity.
If he's not involved and he's over there, we'll go.
When they need to, they're controlling the tempo. But Southern Knights to be absolutely applauded, and I think just a few little inaccuracies and they'll get more points on the scoreboard if they tidy that up.
Got a replacement for him.
It looks like Neil Irvin Hess's day is done. Back into the starting side this week, replacing Ben Muncaster. Slight delay as Watsonians decide who they've got left to bring on.
Wait, he's still on. Just wait.
It is indeed Kieran Watt.
Relax. Okay.
So another Southern Knights line out. Fraser Rennick, the man with ball in hand. He just raced to the front. Taken by Alan Ferry.
1-9.
Good timing there.
Away down that stand side goes Fraser Rennick. And to break away from them all, there's enough space down the right hand side. The breakdown, that's huge defence again.
Brilliant
from
double
Watsonians.
tackle. Van Niekerk involved in that.
And that's how Watsonians defend. They try and get two in on as many tackles as possible. Seb Cecil on that occasion trying to win the ball in the process, but it does come back on the Knights side again. Half break by Harris Rutherford. Good pace coming onto the ball. Ben Pickles now. Not seen so much of him in that 11 jersey for the Knights today.
Keep an eye on that for me, Ian.
And Alan Ferry. The Southern Knights have found this all day. They just found a brick wall in that Watsonians defence, and often they have opted to put boot to ball, and rarely has it worked for them.
Yeah, we will now.
Yeah, I think the kicking for the cross kick has been working, but just the back three for Watsonians are able to read it. So maybe more along the ground, but the high one certainly there. Yeah, taken care of.
But that's what the Watsonians defence does to you. They
frustrate.
It really is a brick wall, and they, as we said, they commit two to the tackle. They're driving you back, and eventually just run out of ideas.
Yeah, the absolutely outstanding double tackles. I mean, they'll practice that in training, and it's really the last 20 minutes you can see Watsonians still keeping their shape, defensive shape and attacking shape.
Boys,
but the Southern Knights keeping the pressure on.
Campbell Wilson finds Seb Cecil. Initial hit comes on from Southern Knights, but this looks well set.
Sideways once.
Watsonians. Rory Brand on now. You can see it scrum half for Watsonians.
No, you won't. Not you. You won't.
The referee just in at the side there. I think we've lost the referee's communication. His mic again. But an infringement either way at the mall. However, that hasn't found a touch. Careless there by Watsonians. Allows Southern Knights to send the ball long down into the Watsonians 22, taken by Baggett, who was outside his 22. You'd hear that from the referee. So a third kicking error from Watsonians, kicking out in the full.
Outside, yeah. His foot was just out. Thank you.
Some of Watsonians' play has been exceptional. In particular, we've spoken about their defence. They've been clinical when they've been given opportunities, but there's one or two things that they won't be quite so happy with. That ball tapped back. Rather untidy line out from Southern Knights, but they'll be
great
happy.
Tidy there, really good tidy by Southern Knights there.
I think that was Alan Ferry, again in the 5 jersey for the Southern Knights. Round the corner comes Robbie Deans. Crawford out to, I think that's actually Russell Anderson in the 20 jersey. It should have been Erin Demerel, but Russell Anderson was initially listed in the 21 jersey. Seems to be wearing 20.
It's your man, your man.
Out of Langham, a former Gala player, played for the Melrose club side, now with the Southern Knights. Crawford in again, out into the midfield. Huge hit by Cecil.
Straight back on his feet, really good tackle.
It's rare he's not in the starting side, but I think he's trying to prove a point coming off the bench today, because he's been excellent since he entered the field of play. 10 points the difference between these two sides. Still 11-12 minutes left to play, and you feel if the Southern Knights can get themselves across the try line, it would keep this game very interesting, but they won't do it now because the referee awarded the penalty. You see here that is Russell Anderson taking the ball into contact, and one of the Watsonians players getting hands on ball, not cleared out. I think it's Quagga van Niekerk again. The 2 second rows for Watsonians have been excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie Beresford around the park obviously got the first try, and Van Niekerk's coming to the fore in the second half. Fitness and just general work rate at the breakdown and carries as well.
His only disappointment will be losing that ball over the try line when he looked certain to score. But you're right, he had a slightly quieter first half, but he's really got himself involved in this second half.
He's not letting it affect him, which is good.
And Jamie Beresford, he's got his hands on the ball several times. He's been more noticeable in that line-out, picking off the Southern Knights ball on several occasions. Jamie Campbell is getting some treatment there. One of several contracted academy players aligned with Edinburgh Rugby in that Southern Knights side.
About 10.
Here the referee saying they've got about 10 minutes left, so we'll give you 5 minutes, Heather, to start thinking about your FOSROC Super 6 player of the match. There's certainly a few candidates.
Yeah, absolutely. Real intensity today. Both sides should be proud of their play, and more to come.
Hold on. They're doing a sub. We're allowed to be there. Behind the sticks. Sticks. Fine. Hold on. Time's still off. Just wait. Time's still off. Okay.
There's that man again. Jamie Beresford.
He's fine. He's grand. Straight through the middle.
Disrupted by Southern Knights. So Watsonians have to spin away, and Brand pops it a little bit untidily off to Gregor Skugel. Brand again to Baggett this time. Once again in behind the two forwards in midfield. Just to skip over the top of Harris Rutherford to get to the ball there. Southern Knights trying to get hands on this, but it will come back on the Watsonian side. Brand to Van Niekerk this time. And Eastgate standing at first receiver, and when Watsonians put pace on the ball, they are very difficult to defend, and then they go wide and there could be space down that left flank. Seb Cecil skips out of a couple of tackles and takes play deep inside the Southern Knights 22.
Four's back on.
Again Beresford carrying hard. Flat ball from Brand out to Campbell Wilson. As we said the last time, as soon as the Watsonians lift the pace of the game, very difficult for the Southern Knights defence. Nice angle there by Connor Boyle. Watsonians working their way towards that Southern Knights try line. This time it's Harrison Courtney. Out to Baggett. And flat ball to Angus Guthrie, already scored one this afternoon. See Rory Brand calling the forwards round the corner. He's got Baggett there, but this gives it off to replacement hooker Campbell Wilson.
No!
And driven back is Kieran Watt.
Back foot.
See Quagga Van Niekerk just lurking there, pops it off to Seb Cecil. Southern Knights will do well to keep Watsonians out here. Let's strip that ball. That's Quagga Van Niekerk once again involved. And the referee, you can hear there saying that Watsonians have a penalty advantage, so they can have a go. Baggett out into the midfield. Eastgate finds Loman McPherson off his wing. He thought about giving it to Dom Coetzer, but he's going to try and fight his own way to the try line. Rory Brand, good quick hands by Baggett again. You've got Connor Boyle out there, but instead it goes to, I think, is that Ryan Daly?
I think it's Ross McKnight.
I think, and you're absolutely right, it is Ross McKnight off the bench.
Yeah.
On his
Glasgow
debut.
Academy player, yes, off the bench, makes his debut and goes over
I did, mate.
for his side's 5th try.
Yeah. Awesome, mate. I got 2 advantages against him there. So
it is indeed. You can see the 23 on the back of his jersey as he raced in there, Ross McKnight.
Take about 6-7 minutes.
Really, really good attacking play there from the forwards, and but also from the backs there from Eastgate and Baggett. Really exceptional, just no fuss, but really, really crisp, clean passing, and now taking the conversion for Baggett.
Magic. I think they're getting 8 black to come off, Kev. Oh, you've sent him on. Cheers.
And up go the flags.
Is that injury?
Wonderful kick there by Jason Baggett from out wide. And Watsonians, having led by only 5 points, 19-14, 10 or 15 minutes ago, have just shown their class. 2 occasions now, they've essentially said we're going to score here, lifted the pace, And both Angus Guthrie and then Ross McKnight going over for scores, which you've got to say take the game away from the Southern Knights.
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely Baggett and Eastgate outstanding, and also Seb Cecil, Van Niekerk, all providing a platform. Harrison Courtney too with some good carries.
No. Maul.
The maul there, good work by the Southern Knights pack.
No, they weren't.
Managing to get hands on that,
No, they've done a really
prevent
good job to hold him up. His knees weren't down.
Watsonians getting to deck. You can hear the referee just explaining there that the Watsonians players' knees weren't down. Essentially, when the knees go down, that's deemed to be a tackle. Held him up long enough. You can see Mike Umbo on there. And 17 jersey, Dutch international, 6 caps. Spent time in the Wasps Academy. Played for Ealing Trailfinders, south of the border. Now on the field, Loosehead replacing his captain Grant Shields.
Who's in? Hold on, this lad's.
Good to see though that ball that Southern Knights still very much in the mix and making it hard for Watsonians.
Right, sit mark, guys. That's you there. It's not move. Can't carry on. We've got to get this going. No.
So it looks like, isn't it, Jamie Campbell
Let's go.
holding his hamstrings there, and I would say the Southern Knights players just starting to feel the pace of this game and the amount of effort they put into it. I'm not sure the scoreline necessarily reflects how the game has gone. What it does tell you is the class of Watsonians with those two tries to take the game away from the Southern Knights with 5 minutes left in this one. Certainly got the game in the bag, but can Southern Knights get the final say? It's a better scrum from the Knights.
Really good scrum, tilting it the right way.
Long pass out to Aidan Cross, puts boot to ball, and this could work for the Southern Knights. Rory Brand does a great job. The replacement scrum half for Watsonians going back and tidying that one up. So that could have bounced anywhere. Aidan Cross and Ben Pickles both on hand for Southern Knights. Watsonians will just look to clear their lines here. Back it goes from Brand. And Eastgate again with the left boot. That's a long kick. Harris Rutherford racing back to try and get that. I think he wanted to take the quick throw in, but the kick was good enough from Connor Eastgate. It didn't allow him to do that. And it will be a Southern Knights throw into the line out just inside the Watsonians half.
Yeah, Rory Brand can be pleased with his contribution the last 5 minutes, creating the try there. Really quick ball for the Watsonians try, but also just really getting back and saving the try.
I know, so do I.
So we will see what the Southern Knights can do from this, and then we will get you to reveal your FOSROC Super 6 player of the match. I can perhaps guess, but I will let you announce it. Hear the wind over the referee's mic. It's
in the 5.
Hasn't really affected the game, but perhaps some of the looser kicks have been that's been the reason. Conditions more difficult out there than they perhaps appear. Luckily the rain didn't last long. Southern Knights go again. Harris Rutherford, ball out into the midfield, driven back again by that Watsonians defence. Connor Boyle involved.
15.
Not hanging about. Douglas Crawford. He had Sam Derrick with him, opted not to give it, and in come the hands of Seb Cecil.
Never on the ball.
He says never on the ball. It was cleared out. Mike Umbo knocked back in the tackle. There'll be some sore bodies tomorrow morning on that Southern Knights side. Watsonians' defence has been excellent. Still with the Knights. Back it comes to Alan Ferry.
He's had a good game this afternoon. He's been really working hard.
And second rows on both sides have played very well. Another penalty to the Southern Knights. Watsonians off their feet. And once again, Douglas Crawford playing quickly. It's the ball to his fullback, Kieran Clark, chopped down just outside the Watsonians 22. Harrison Courtney thought he had hands on that, appealing to the referee. The referee said he missed it. Lovely flat ball again to Fraser Rennick. It was Harris Rutherford throwing that one, and Harris Rutherford again with a long ball out. He tried to find Sam Derrick, but it's been picked off. And away goes Lomond McPherson. Nobody will catch him. And the Watsonians rugby right wing just puts the icing on the cake for the home side. The Southern Knights will feel hard done by there. Harris Rutherford throwing some lovely, beautiful long flat passes. On that occasion, couldn't quite find his blindside flanker Sam Derrick. It was read by Lomond McPherson. He just raced off, and nobody at the back for Southern Knights.
Watsonians' defence just paying dividends there, and just read it beautifully. Saw where it was going. It was just probably floated a little bit and just gave it enough for Lomond to run on to a fantastic finish there. All came from, he's got his whole defensive line to thank for that.
I'll tell you when, mate. Assuming you want to take the full time, yeah?
Conversion by Jason
Assuming you want to take the
Baggett.
full time. Go, I'll tell you.
Assume we'll be successful from out in front.
Yeah, full time. No, there was a minute and a half when they scored to the full 90. I'll tell you, mate, just wait.
And then Heather, we will get you to announce your player of the match. Jason Baggett taking his time over this one.
Okay, that is time.
I hear the referee saying that that's time. So I think this will be the last act of the match. Conversion indeed successful. The final score, Watsonians Rugby 38, Southern Knights 14. And Heather, your FOSROC Super 6 player of the match.
FOSROC Super 6 player of the match. There's several contenders. I thought it was a really well fought, even game, but Watsonians just coming out in the end. But the FOSROC Super 6 player of the match is Jamie Beresford at number 5 for Watsonians. Well done, Jamie.
Okay, cheers, mate. Okay. Cheers.
Some great steals in the line out, defensive line out operator, but also in attack as well at the line out. But some good carries and good in defence. So just fantastic afternoon and work rate. Yeah.
You can see confirmation on your screen there of the final score here at Myreside. Watsonians Rugby 38, Southern Knights 14. A comfortable win in the end. It was anything but comfortable with about 20 minutes left to play when Watsonians only led 19 points to 14, but 3 tries. Angus Guthrie, Ross McKnight and Lomond McPherson just taking the game away from the Southern Knights, and you see on screen there confirmation of our FOSROC player of the match, Jamie Beresford, number 5 for Watsonians. An outstanding performance with ball in hand, involved in several of those double tackles that we spoke about.
Yep.
He was the target in many of the Watsonians lineouts, and sadly from a Southern Knights point of view, he was the target in many of their lineouts as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a very shrewd operator at the line out, and yeah, Watsonians just pulling away in the last 20 minutes there with those 3 tries.
So let's have a look at all those tries. 6 for Watsonians, 2 for Southern Knights. So if we take ourselves all the way back to the second minute of the game, when Jamie Beresford went over and just caught the Southern Knights napping.
He just saying there, actually, just before Rowan could actually pick up the ball, he was like, no, I'm going. So well done.
So Jamie Beresford with the opening try. You can see just from a different angle here. I think it's from the next breakdown. Ball loose from Rowan Frostwick, and you see Frostwick appearing, but if you just keep your eye on the headband to the right of the breakdown there, nobody at home. Corey Winters, as we mentioned earlier.
And they're both, the Southern Knights defence just a bit bamboozled there, so got to make sure your guard's in and head up.
Winters probably not expecting to be there or particularly comfortable that close to the breakdown. And the second one was just an outstanding individual effort by Dom Coetzer. The ball kicked through by the Southern Knights, and he picked it up off his bootlaces in his own 22 and just raced away down the left touchline. Great footwork as well.
Just really good counter attack, and any chance he's just, that's his thing. So fantastic finish and really good footwork. Anyone watching, that's just a fantastic example. Change the direction, change the speed, and good pick up the ball initially as well. If you see him here, gives himself time, and then he's already moving away in a different direction. Arcing run, ball on the outside hand, and then able to do a bit of footwork there to beat the defenders.
He still had a huge amount to do. I think when Ciaran Clark watches that, he'll think he maybe shouldn't have bought the dummy because he had Kyle McGee inside.
Yeah.
And he maybe should have just stayed out.
Communication there maybe for defence, but still fantastic finish.
And easy for me to say sitting here. Back came the Southern Knights, so a deserved score, a quick tap from the penalty, and it was Kyle McGee who took that, was tackled by Dom Coetzer, and fed it inside to Sam Derrick.
Yeah.
And Ciaran Clark added the extra, so that stage, 16 minutes played, it was 14 points to 7 that Watsonians led. Another look at it here. He'd step off the left foot, and lovely ball inside, and Derrick was surrounded by Watsonians players, did wonderfully well to get himself across the try line.
Yeah, absolutely, just really good supporting play and good up-tempo play. Really good there. Sam Derrick scoring last week as well, so be pleased with that.
And then the penalty conceded by the Southern Knights. Watsonians kick to the corner, and from the line out, again unable to get over from the maul, but Carol Main, you can see with the blue headgear there, just picked up and darted around the corner. Southern Knights defence didn't quite have time to get set there.
Yeah, good variation just because it didn't work in the first drive. But yeah, it was good that they kept it in, and Carl Main finishing off well there.
And then the kick from the Southern Knights couldn't be taken cleanly by Aidan Cross, but he kicked it through.
This is the
and
card.
Rowan Frostwhite, yes, decided to take him down before he could kick it across the try line. You can see Dom Coetzer covering across for Watsonians, but Rowan Frostwhite didn't want to take the chance, tackled the man without the ball, and was shown the yellow card.
Yep.
We now see the second Southern Knights try. That ball squirted out, and it was just picked up again by Sam Derrick, scoring his second try of the afternoon. And at that stage, at 19 points to 14, you felt that the Southern Knights could perhaps get themselves an unlikely victory at Myreside.
Yeah, absolutely. Really had really good patience there, and that was a real sort of build up of pressure, and they came to fruition with the try there. Douglas Crawford urging them on there.
But Watsonians are really showing their class in the closing 20 minutes.
That's how you pass. Like Baggett and Eastgate just keeping it simple, and really good finish there by Guthrie.
Guthrie playing outside centre today, just
I
coming on at pace and charging through the last tackle.
Yeah.
That was good build-up play, and you can look at that. Rowan Frostwhite,
lovely pass there. Yeah.
Yes, in behind the two forwards. They did that all day, just holding the Southern Knights defence.
It wasn't a straight run. He had to step. He stepped back off his left foot and back in. Guthrie, so well done. Some good feet there.
Matthew Bertram on hand to attempt to make the tackle, but Angus Guthrie just a bit too strong for him. Here we have our presentation. Lee Millar, who we lost fairly early in the first half, the Watsonians rugby captain, will present the FOSROC Super6 Player of the Match award to Jamie Beresford. Very happy with his afternoon's work.
Yeah, so he should be.
Lee Millar doesn't look like he's carrying. I'm not sure if that was decided
yeah,
beforehand that he would just play 30 minutes or so. But back to our analysis. Rory Brand there on at scrum half.
Upping the tempo as well there, Rory, yeah.
Off to Baggett, and then fed out to Ross McKnight on in the second half, making his debut off the bench for Watsonians Rugby.
Again, just some really good hands, good carries, sharp hands there by Baggett. Nice line there, and just a quick pass out. Great finish.
Yeah, Southern Knights just run out of defence, really. They had to defend for so many phases, and the pace that they were playing at. Southern Knights on the attack here, trying to get themselves back into the game, and just that long ball intercepted by Loman McPherson. And he's got so much gas, chased all the way, but nobody was ever going to stop him.
Yeah, that was unlucky there because there was some Harris Rutherford was good passes, but again, that wasn't just from that set, the defensive set that Watsonians had done for the couple of minutes prior, and that's Loman was the beneficiary of that excellent defence by Watsonians.
So Loman McPherson racing away for his side's 6th try. And that was the last action of the game. We'll bag it, adding the extra, so you can see all of our results in round 8 of the FOSROC Super 6. Last night's shock, you've got to say. Stirling Wolves getting their first win of the campaign on the road at third place Boroughmuir Bears, 28 points to 16. Duncan Weir kicking 4 conversions in that one. And then earlier this afternoon, Ayrshire Bulls, that 33 points to 7 win against Heriot's Rugby. A really dominant performance for them. 5 tries, 4 of them for their left wing, Elias Caven. And then Watsonians Rugby 38, Southern Knights 14 in our third and final game of the weekend here at Myreside this afternoon. So with that, Watsonians have leapfrogged Ayrshire Bulls back into first place, but it's certainly neck and neck, and it keeps the next 2 weekends, the last 2 games in the regular season, interesting. Because, as we said earlier, teams fighting for home advantage in the semi-final and the final. And then Boroughmuir Bears and Heriot's Rugby, the 2 sides in possession of the other 2 semi-final places. Boroughmuir Bears are certain of a semi-final place. I say mathematically or arithmetically, you could say Southern Knights do have so they did at the start of play, had an outside chance of getting there. They've lost that today with that loss at
the maximum
Watsonians Rugby. So we know that the 4 sides who will play in the semi-finals. It's just a matter of who will play who and who will have home advantage, and we will find out over the next 2 weeks, because we have the penultimate round of games next weekend. We'll be back on Friday night. We'll be down at Milbury as the Ayrshire Bulls take on Stirling Wolves, and then on Saturday, Boroughmuir Bears against Watsonians Rugby, and finally Heriot's Rugby against the Southern Knights. So I hope you enjoyed our coverage this weekend. 3 very entertaining games for you. And from all of us here at Scottish Rugby and QTV, thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.